Hi folks, how you doing? WrestleTrueResults303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box, Mind, Body, Spirit, Fitness. Put in the healing back in health. When you're at the website, click free gifts. Get those downloads for you, setting goals, nutrition. Hopefully they're going to help you on the fitness aspect of your journey. And once again, check us out on all social media platforms, at least the ones I'm on, Google+, Twitter, Facebook, True Results 303. Check out the podcast, True Results 303. Coming at you today with a video on why heaven is real. And this is going to be a difficult sell, I guess you could say. But there was a book I was reading and it was a little too above my intellect. So I really only read one chapter, I think, if that. And then I was just like, I got to scratch this one. I'm not ready for it. But once again, I'm going to have to get to it. I can see it right now on my little bookshelf here. But why heaven exists. And I guess my first reasoning is just, to me it makes sense. Like, this can't be the end. This can't be all. And if you've seen some of my other videos just on spirituality, I think they all kind of hint towards this. So first of all, it depends on if you're a spiritual person. If you're a spiritual person, I would assume most likely you are already in the belief that there is something after this. Now, some of them might not say it's heaven and hell. Some might just say it's heaven. But I'm a firm believer that there is heaven and there is hell. And once again, in my opinion, it just makes sense, right? We have consequences for our actions here on earth. So there has to be consequences for what comes after this. There has to be the two realms, in my opinion. Same thing with everything here on earth, right? We have black, we have white. We have black, we have white. We have good, we have bad. We have positive, we have negative, right? We have all these pairs, male and female, right? So we have all these different pairs. There's one side of each coin, head and tails, right? So I think it just makes sense if we are going from that thought pattern that there has to, if there's a heaven, there has to be a hell. If there's an afterlife, there has to be something else, right? We have a natural, we have a supernatural. So in my opinion, there can't just be heaven. There has to be consequences for your actions. And even if you're someone who does not believe in hell, then it could be heaven and purgatory, because we as Catholics believe in purgatory, right? A place where we will be cleansed of our sin because it's already written biblically, I wish I had the passage, nothing can get into heaven that is unclean. It must be pure to get into heaven. So we have to be purified, because no matter what, I sin multiple times in a day, whether it be through judgment of others, profanity, negative language, putting down my fellow man, not treating myself properly, not just living up to God's standards. So there has to be a place of purification. And once again, we don't know the time frame, but there just has to be a place for purification. And just so I can grab this book real quick for you, so you can see it. This is the book I grabbed, The Physics of Immortality. It's a big one. Like I said, I tried reading it. Let's see what I got to, if I have something marked off here. This might be a marked off page. No, I don't. Like I said, I read one chapter, I think, and I was just like, whew, this is too much for me. But as you can see, it says right on it. Sorry, I can't see that. Modern cosmology, God, and the resurrection of the dead. And what I got from it is it just kind of talks, even in our prayer, in the Our Father prayer, right? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And then they talk about a new earth being built when you get into Revelations and things like that. So he was kind of talking about, from what little I read in the book, of how we are building earth on heaven on earth, kind of that utopia, which everyone thinks is impossible, and we try to cure it with socialism or whatever the case may be. I'm a firm believer that there is a way of attaining it, but unfortunately with so much division in the world, right now it's just not possible. But so I wanted to go in another direction just to end this video. Once again, maybe pick up the book. I bought it at a thrift store. I'm a big advocate of thrift store books. So I got this book for $3.99. Hopefully one of these days I'm going to read it. It says right here $25.99 or $24.95, and it was actually written, so it could be a newer book. Let me check the copyright. It was written in, where is that? C. Oh, so it was written in 94, so it's actually fairly old. But the other reason why I'm a firm believer that there is a heaven and there is a hell is if we want to go off of that concept of you can manifest your own reality, your own world, right? We have this thought pattern of if you believe it, you can achieve it, you can create it, you can manifest your greatest dreams. And if that is possible, we've got to understand that when we manifest in larger groups, even greater things would be possible, right? That's why when you first start your dream job, career, company, you're always going to have to acquire others, right? We are social beings. We are connected, just like the world is connected. The trees, the sun, winter, water, cows grazing, cows pooping for fertilizer, right? It's all interconnected, and we are as man as well. So I think we've got to understand, if you are on or a believer of you can manifest, I hear a lot of people saying ask the universe and the universe will give it to you. I think we've got to understand then that when people come together as a group, we are much more powerful. And because when I am thinking of heaven in this state, to me it is something that we all enjoy together, right? That God has created, and it is for all of us to actually take part in, versus of when I have my dream and my vision of my job, making money, my house, my car, whatever it is. Those are selfish needs. Those are just me, versus heaven. And when we think of heaven, this is, like I said, it is for all of us. So I think that is much more powerful. Just like now when they're talking about, I was listening to something the other day, and they talked about how the power of prayer, when they study the atmosphere around it, the positive and negative charges, they can feel that presence to where, they said even like some of the machines that can pick up that supernatural patterns, I guess, they say they are off the charts if they sit outside of like a Catholic church or some form of religious spiritual building. When people are in intense prayer and meditation, it can be sensed. So I think we've got to understand that if we have multiple people, and of course Catholics being, if I remember correctly, the largest religious group, spiritual group at 1 billion so people, if you have 1 billion devoted, now we all must understand that we're not all perfect, so but if we're at that area where there are 1 billion people trying to manifest the same thing, I think that's going to overpower anything, and then we're trying to manifest a supernatural thing, a heaven, a utopia, something that benefits all, not just the self. I think we've got to put into consideration that heaven is probably real, and so is hell, if we want to look at it in that manifestation point of view. So that was a lot to think about. Hopefully I'm going to get to this book soon. I'm going to man up and just read it and feel like a dummy. To get more of a concept of what it is. So I'll even read the back for you real quick. It says, is there a God? And it says, most modern scientists would answer that question with a simple no. They would say that there is no proof, no indication, no hint in nature that the universe is anything but a cold, unknowing place, that human beings are accidents of evolution, that when we die, our consciousness disappears into oblivion. But what if there was proof? And one thing, since I brought that up, this is another reason why I think there is this afterlife, right? Because we don't just die and then there's nothing, right? Because if I can look up at the stars, right, everything in our body is an electrical impulse, right? If you watch The Matrix, in The Matrix, the humans are just batteries for these machines to have energy off of, and so they can survive. So if we've got to understand, if we are an electrical charge is usually going to be a flash of light, right? Like a lightning bolt. Psh, psh, psh. So I think we've got to understand, if we can look up in the stars, and if I remember correctly from when I was a child, it was some of those stars have already burned out hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years ago, but we can still see the presence of that light as it is traveling towards us. As what is the speed of light? 100,000, 200, whatever feet per second or something like that. Years per second, whatever it is. What would be feet per second, miles per second, kilometers per second, whatever it is. I think we've got to understand that this power and this energy within us does not just, it's not like a battery. It doesn't just run out and then no longer in existence. Especially if those stars, some of them are already dead and we can still see the light. I think we've got to understand that, we are great. I think we are greater than a lot of things out there. We are made in His likeness and image. So food for thought. Heaven and hell is real. You be the judge. Comment. What are your thoughts? I would definitely like to hear that. Let's turn this community of just me and a few people, this I, into a we. That's what it's about. We must be willing to challenge ourselves so that we can challenge others. Right? We must be able to learn so we can teach. We must know the truth so we can teach the truth. So I hope this helps. Once again, all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, True Results 303, podcast True Results 303 on all your social media podcast apps, and then definitely subscribe to this channel because I'm putting out videos daily that are hopefully going to help you on your journey. So subscribe to the channel, share and like these videos.